So there was this Power Rangers fan film that came out back in February, and when I saw it, I thought it was kind of cool and didn't think much else of it. But over the past month, it's been on my mind more and more, and I just thought I'd do a little commentary slash review slash critique slash analysis of this thing, and just share my thoughts about something that's got me, I don't know, a little concerned or food for thought at least. So here we see the opening scene, and as you can see right off the bat, the effects are top notch. I mean, not as good as some Hollywood films, but certainly better than a lot. And for a fan film, I think that's the first thing that people really gravitate towards. They see how good this looks and how much was put into it, and immediately that's a pretty cool thing, right? That they were able to do this with low budget, especially stuff like this. The special effects and the CGI are really incredible. And while that's cool and that's great, the overall tone of this film, I'm just not a fan of. I grew up watching Power Rangers, childhood memories, nostalgia, all that good stuff, like many people have with other franchises. And it's not to say that you can't make something with your own perspective, your own creativity, put something into it. Like there's clearly a vision for this, and I know there's talk of like this is a satire, a parody of just how serious all modern movies become, with these kind of kid franchises. But there's a lot of people, as evidenced by the thousands and thousands of thumbs up and all the millions of views it has, and people in the comments saying like, "Oh, this is the Power Rangers film we always needed. They should make a movie, exactly like this." And I just got to disagree. There's so much value to having variety and diversity, and Power Rangers especially is thought of as like a kid's show. And to make something that gets let's just call it the Michael Bay or the Transformers polish, the coat over, the Transformers paint on it, just it's such a disservice to not only Power Rangers, but to other just brands in general. Like you look at some movies that have come out, like Battleship, which was almost looked like a joke, or Ninja Turtles, and they all kind of have this blue and orange, high-tech, dystopian future. It's just like so generic, so played out. I mean, Transformers, the first Transformers movie came out, and that was a big deal. That was kind of the first time anyone had seen anything like that, and now it's just become the standard go-to for every film. It's like, hey, let's find, oh, G.I. Joe? Yeah, let's make that into a movie. Okay, what do? We make it dark, we make it gritty, we make it super violent, and it loses a lot of the charm. Like, you look at G.I. Joe, the actual cartoon series, and it's nothing like those modern movies. And, even Transformers and Ninja Turtles or any of those franchises. And again, that's not to say you can't take creative license. You obviously have to you make some adjustments, update it for a modern audience, but I feel like we're kind of falling into this pattern of it's cookie cutter, and when I see people reacting to the Power Rangers fan film like this, it doesn't give me a whole lot of hope, because apparently it's what people want. They want, the Black Ranger doing coke. They want, well, this is actually pretty funny, but clearly they had some reference to the original Power Ranger show, and again, this is so beautifully shot and just so well made, but you need to really honor the source material, or you find yourself falling into this trap of everything just looking the same. I know there's a lot of people who are upset with the way modern brands and modern movies are making things, right? Like Ninja Turtles, let's say, for example, the Ninja Turtles movie that came out last year. A lot of people really upset with, the betrayal of the brand. And yet, you look at Power Rangers, and because it's a fan film, because it's done outside of Hollywood, people are like, oh yeah, this is great, this is exactly what we want. Well, it's like, which one is it? Do you want Hollywood to keep making these generic action movies, these blockbusters, or do you want them to do something that's actually representative of the brand? Look at the Marvel universe and what they're doing with their movies, and it is so incredible to see how much effort and devotion they're putting into that stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy is is not your typical superhero movie in the modern sense, where you had Batman Begins and The Dark Knight come out, and everyone was talking about, oh yeah, we need like dark, gritty reboots of everything. And then you look at what Marvel's doing, where it's like, no, we don't have to follow these trends. We can make something that's good in its own right and still respects the source material. Contrasted with the latest Superman movie, Man of Steel, which I'm a huge Superman fan. And I saw that movie and was just kind of underwhelmed by what they had done with the character. Very generic. Like, the characters are essentially, if you watch Man of Steel, the characters are essentially their jobs. Lois Lane, what's her character? Well, she's a reporter. Superman, what's his character? Well, he's just the guy who saves everybody. And you go through and there's no heart and soul to it. Whereas, Iron Man or Thor or Captain America, the latest Captain America was fantastic. And it's not because they're all the same, doing the same thing. They have their own little spin and take on it. And I'm really excited to see Avengers and how that turns out. Just because I really enjoy those Marvel movies, and it's because there is heart and soul to it. Now, if you're going to actually make a Power Rangers movie, yeah, you can update it so it's not so cheesy, but you still have to keep in mind that these are adults or, teenagers dressed up in bright colored, goofy looking outfits, and it's kind of silly. And not to mention the fact that Power Rangers actually has a storyline. As bizarre as that is for a kid's show, this presents a future that, from everything you can tell from the TV show, would likely not happen. Like, it would have been great if these were actually the original characters the original actors who played these characters, but obviously that's not going to happen all the time. But respecting that source material is so valuable, because you can make something that stands out and doesn't just become, oh, that's another one of those summer Hollywood blockbuster movies. And I don't mean to rag on this so much. It's incredibly well made. I guess my main point of concern is with the fan reaction. People looking at this and demanding or saying that they really want this to be the next Power Rangers movie, or this to be what Power Rangers should be. And no, it shouldn't. Power Rangers should be Power Rangers, what it always has been. And there's been some bad seasons and there have been some good seasons. There's been some missteps and some really, frankly, kind of cool choices that they've made with that show over the years for being a kid's show. And the thing about a kid's show is, a lot of people discredit it like, oh, well, that's just for kids. But if you look at the stuff that makes an impact, like I watched Power Rangers probably when I was 4, 5 years old, probably too young, to where most people would say like, oh, that's too violent for a kid that young to be watching it. But I remember watching it at that young age. It made an impression. Some of the most devoted fans, they love the brands because they make a strong impression. And it's not because they're dark and gritty and adult, especially for these kids shows. They can be smart, they can be funny, they can be clever. But I think Power Rangers for me, most of all, it's about fun. Most kid brands and things that people resonate with is because it's fun. Like Ninja Turtles is fun. I know you can go back to the original Ninja Turtles and maybe that's not necessarily fun, but the Ninja Turtles that most of us grew up with is fun. G.I. Joe, it's fun. Power Rangers is fun. Transformers, that's a fun, goofy cartoon. And if you lose that by, doing the dark lighting, the gritty atmosphere, the intense characters and themes, and the mature subject material, it kind of ruins it. And people get up in arms about the opposite. Like, could you imagine like a PG-13 Sin City? People would have gone nuts. And they do go nuts when that kind of stuff happens, where a movie comes out and you're like, a PG-13 Die Hard? Oh, come on, you can't have Die Hard without the R rating. So, but you can go the opposite way, where Power Rangers needs an R rating. We need the serious Power Rangers. No, it's better with variety. That way you can go watch Die Hard, you can go watch Sin City, and that's the adult, dark stuff. But then you can also go have your fun Power Rangers movie, your fun Transformers and Ninja Turtles movie. And finding those balances between everything just makes for such a healthy environment and industry for Hollywood to be operating in, rather than just everything is the exact same. Like this scene right here, this could be from any generic action movie. It could. It's well done, well choreographed, well shot, great effects. But does this look like Power Rangers? No, it doesn't. Contrast with the TV show, this is not what Power Rangers looks like. But hey, to each their own. I know there's some people who really like this stuff. You can the actual, Jason David Frank, the original Green Ranger, White Ranger, Red Ranger, whatever season you want to reference. But he's kind of come out and said that he's not really a fan of this, purely for the fact that it is, Power Rangers is geared towards kids, and kids probably shouldn't be watching this. But hey, I don't know, maybe let your kids watch it. For me personally, though, I think people need to look a little bit deeper than just what they see on the surface of, oh, it's got some cool effects, it's well shot, it's well made. Okay, but is this actually authentic to the brand? Because even though it's a fan film, even though this was made with no budget and really no support, it's still, you can't just say that, okay, that makes it, that we'll give this one a pass. Because people don't give Hollywood a pass when they try and do this stuff with their beloved franchises. So I think we just, everyone should just kind of look at it with, this is cool, this is great, but it's not what Power Rangers should be. It's fun, maybe like alternate universe, but I don't think we can demand this from big Hollywood directors. So maybe you totally disagree. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I just thought I'd share my thoughts and perspective on it because a couple of my friends were asking me. So there you have it. Could be totally wrong, because apparently there are a lot of people down here who really like this thing. And that's not fair. I like it too. It is pretty cool. But it's not Power Rangers.